So I have plenty of work to do today, this Saturday after Thanksgiving. I have a weaving project set up in both my rigid heddle loom and my frame loom. I have a few articles of clothing that I need to mend, a few ideas for a knit project or a crochet project that I could do. I've got some machines to work on, but I think for the time being, as soon as my coffee's ready, this is where I will be focusing my attention. Just watching the beauty of the first real decent snowfall of the season. Whatever you find today to do, God bless you and keep you and and give you peace. Well, I suppose welcome once again to Living and Active. I was going to try to do a full-length video today, but I think what you're going to get is a bunch of stitched together snippets. As you'll see in one of the snippets, we just recently got a fairly decent amount of snow, and there was a need that presented itself for me to get to my van and get the van on the road for the people who take care of that kind of thing for my neighbors, and I could get to it because everyone had a bunch of snow, so it took a while. So that meant that old Leland had to do a bit of wheelchair shoveling, and by a bit I mean a lot. And by the way, if you've never had the pleasure or the opportunity to experience shoveling snow from a wheelchair, I recommend you try it at least once. It will build muscle character, or at least an appreciation for the people who have to do such things. I would recommend, however, that if you do take on such a foolish thing, as cool as it might be or seem, set your wheel locks and try to avoid slopes, any kind of uphill or downhill grade, especially in the direction against which you're shoveling. Physics, it's a real thing. Anyway, so as this part of the snippet, I'm going to show you this most recent scarf that I've completed in the rigid heddle loom. This is a project. It's not finished. I still have to trim the fringe on the end. Okay, but I've got it. I got the thing woven. You can see the pattern here. It's a very nice pattern. I like it. This came from striping 2 different colors of warp and then running alternating colors of yarn across, which would be the weft. And one is very variegated and the other one is a more solid pattern. So you see this really kind of checkered thing going on here. It's not really checkers, but you see that. And then you also get this really rich, very cool, I think, variation. Even front to back is a little bit different, just because of which threads are more pronounced than front on one side from the other side. But I finished it off with crocheting border on this side to match these threads, and a border on this side to match these threads. So I don't know, I think it came out pretty cool. So all I need to do is get it washed, trim up the fringe, and then it'll be ready to go with that scarf. And where did it go? That one that you can't see that's on top of the recliner, that's all bunched up. And those will be washed up together and sent to the thrift store's donation to be sold for, well, one, anybody that might be needing a scarf, or might just appreciate scarves or whatever. And then even a little bit of money that will bring in will go towards the food pantry. So I get the joy of being able to make something with my hands that will both prayerfully, hopefully, Lord willing, help somebody stay warm and help somebody else, maybe even the same person, also be fed. So that's what I do. That's the end of this little snippet. I'll catch you in the next segment because I hear my coffee percolating right over there. Can you see that? I can smell it. So whether you can see it or not, I'm going to go get it. I'll catch you in the next segment. So as some of you may know, if you've been hanging around these channels for any amount of time whatsoever, or if you've happened to stumble across any of my shorts, you'll know that I have an affinity for music. You will also know that I've struggled for the last 3 years, probably, trying to find instruments, discover instruments that I can play with my continuing diminishment of my hands and things like that. Things that I can play for my wheelchair, so I don't have to do a whole lot of transfers in between different surfaces or whatever else. And it's been a very long and sometimes very pricey road of discovery and experimentation. One of my more recent, this is actually my favorite group of instruments just because they're so weird. But this is an antique, and I do say it's antique because it's over 100 years old. Framing is important here. This is what is known as a zither. There are many, many, many different kinds of zither. They're all called different names. And even the types of zither that have the same names, some made by the same company, sometimes look completely different from each other. So this particular one is called a Paramount Concert Harp. I'm reading the information they need inside of the instrument, and it says it's a special advertising instrument sold through demonstrators only, manufactured in the USA. So what this basically is a box made out of wood. It's got a whole bunch of strings stretched across it, and I got this a couple days ago. I let it acclimate or whatever before I even tried putting a tune on it. I earlier today spent a good bit of time putting not its final tune, but an initial tune on it so that it can adjust to being under tension for probably the first time in years. And if you have any kind of musical ear whatsoever, you can hear, like this is C. D. That was my clock. So you can kind of hear, and I'm not presuming that the microphone is all that great or accurate on this camera, but on some of these notes you can hear that they're a few cents off, either sharp or flat. But it's close enough. It's enough to get the tension on the instrument. And to play it and get the wood warmed up, that was my other clock. Because, like I said, who knows how long ago it has been since this is played. And what I'm using is I have a regular finger pick. This one on my finger is metal. Just standard that most banjo players would recognize. This one on my thumb is by a company called Black Mountain Picks, and it's kind of like a regular thumb pick, but it's hinged. It's plastic. It's hinged, and so the hinge portion keeps tension on my thumb. It's one size fits all. And I really, really like these because I can. The only thing is you can't backpick really with the thumb because then your pick starts coming off and it starts opening up and sliding around everywhere. But that's what I'm using. For those of you who are new, uh, I pretty much almost always wear some kind of wrist support because of the degradation of the muscles surrounding my wrist bones. I get injured fairly easily in my hands and wrists because of it. So I'm usually wearing some kind of compression at least, or other kind of wrist support just to protect myself from further injury as I go about doing things. So there's four chords on this, and then there's diatonic scale C major, and then you have chords D, F, G, and then an alternated C chord. I couldn't get the G string tuned to G, so I have E C E C for the chord instead of E C G C. Okay, so I messed up a couple notes there, but I just started playing this today. Uh, this is this is what a Paramount concert harp looks and sounds like. I have a few other instruments in this basic style. I might show those in other videos, but that's the musical portion of this little potpourri video. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what's going to be on the next one, but uh, until then, I guess stay tuned. Okay, so a little bit of, I don't know, I guess just trivia. These cool little statues I have here in my old guard antique sewing machine display. I call it the old guard because every single machine in here is a singer, and every single machine in this case is at least 100 years old. But I am not here to talk about those things. This, by the way, this is a piece of a pendulum I ended up having to take apart to fix that clock over there. So I kept it because it looks cool. And it just stays right there on the rocks underneath the bear. But the story with these is 3 years ago when I moved into my first apartment here in the town that I live in. I had just barely escaped being homeless, whatever. I was brought to this town. I didn't even know that this town existed in this state. So I was kind of surprised, but I was put into a subsidized apartment when I first got here. Things have improved. I've since been in 2 other apartments in this city, and things are going well. But I've had this bear with me the entire time I've been in this city. And I bought it at the thrift store that I do all the donations and everything from. And I bought it, one, because it's a bear and it just looks cool and everything. And I've been called a bear in terms of mentality and I guess toughness or something before. And whatever, it's just a cool statue. And it's got this little broken piece off of it, and nobody was buying it. Nobody wanted it because it was broken. So I was like, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to put it in a place of distinction. And I've always, no matter where I've lived, I've always proudly displayed this bear somewhere where people can see it and enjoy it. Well, about a month ago, that same thrift store had this eagle. And similar kind of story, all of the talons on its left claw are broken off, and 2 of its feather tips are broken off. So I was like, well, that'll be a perfect accompaniment for the busted bear. So I bought it and I put them 2 together. And as I did, I realized that there's a story here. We've got a bear that doesn't have much room to go to, or much ground to stand on, just caught his fish or whatever, and you have the busted eagle just trying to survive, can't fly, can't really hunt because he's got the busted talons and everything else. So he's basically forced to make his living by scavenging, and so his chosen his chosen challenge, I guess, for tonight's dinner is this bear that would rather just be left alone and be left to eat the fish that he had to catch. So this eagle hopping around on the ground, doing what he can to survive. I don't know. It's some kind of weird. If you think about it long enough, you could probably add your own social subtext to it, whatever. But I think it's just a very cool, like, little diorama of just, you know, 2 apex predators, really, just trying to figure out how to survive, and they're not really interested in attacking each other, but they got to eat. So I don't know. That just kind of made its own story as I put them together and set them up as displays. So I have to make sure when I clean them, move them around, move the machines around or whatever, that I always set them up so that they are facing each other like this so that the story remains. So anyway, that's this segment. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit of storytelling thing, whatever. But yeah, I am still very, very much wiped out from having to dig out my van. So yeah, that's going to be the end. I'm not going to shoot any more snippets. I'm just going to stitch these all together at some point and upload them, and I hope you guys enjoy them. There's no playlist or whatever. This is just a random video of random things. So until next time, if there is a next time, and there might not be, remember the words of Hebrews 11:6. Without faith, it is impossible to please God, because those who come to God must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of those who seek Him. So in all of your ways, no matter what your circumstance, no matter what your situation, no matter how busted up you are, no matter how unfair it is, you're just trying to go about your day and do your thing. Trust in God and believe that He rewards those who seek Him and the things that He loves.